Good afternoon. I'm amazed as so many people are still here. I'd like to look at you. I'm Greg Thompson. I'm head of special collections here at the J. Willard Marriott Library, and I've had a long history with the institution and special collections. When Kenza asked me to make closing remarks, one, that's a dangerous thing to turn Thompson loose on. And two, I thought, oh my God, what will I say? I'd like to start by complimenting you and your organization and the leadership for what you have accomplished and what we have seen today presented. I think it's incredible, and I think you should be very, very proud of your involvement in it. I hope you take ownership of what is the Mountain West Digital Library, and that you will continue to be the ambassadors for the program. When Kenza asked me to do this, made me think a bit about where the antecedents for Mountain West Digital Library came from, and I thought I might share a few thoughts for you. And I don't see too many faces that were at the table in the late 1990s and early aughts when this was hatched as an idea. The real leadership behind this was the individual who was running technical services at that time here at the Marriott, Gary Rasmussen, and the brilliant mind behind it, Kenning Artledge. What happened was Sarah Mahalik, a very forth-thinking director at the time, asked if we, the building, couldn't put together a digital archives that could be held by the repository itself, but could be gathered and presented as a unit across the various sponsors and participants. That initiative was called Western Waters Digital Archives. The second piece that came almost at the same time, all these are coming very close, was the effort to develop what has become the internationally known Utah newspaper digital project. Jeremy is here. He's the charging force behind that project these days. My role in that was I said to the brain trust of Gary and Kenning and others that if there was a way to create a digital collection that is searchable of Utah's newspapers, the world of researchers would probably bronze a statue to you and adore you forever. Prior to coming to the library, I had spent 15 years working in a research center in the American West Center on campus. I can't tell you how many hours was spent spending through microfilm making notes. I probably helped create about 200 careers out of undergraduate and graduate students involved in that kind of activity. And when, as that project comes forward, the idea, and it was Kenning's idea, as I recall, to create a digital library in the state of Utah, which becomes the Mountain West Digital Library, incorporates what has been learned in these initial projects and is put to work in developing the Mountain West Digital Library. Where the Mountain West Digital Library has benefited so dramatically has been in the leadership that has played a role in getting us to 3 o'clock on June 7th, 2019. And that is, you have certainly Kenning Artledge and his really, really broad searching mindset for digital initiatives. When Sandra McIntyre was hired to become head of the Mountain West Digital Library, it was a brilliant stroke of genius selection. Some of you have worked with her, know her, and she was just an equally amazing individual, and her compassion and guidance for this organization was just astounding and unparalleled. We went through a period, as you, most of you probably know, you probably are around, of an interim leader, Anna Niederauer, who did an excellent job of carrying the organization over a challenging transitional time of some length. And that brings us to our current leader and leadership, Kenza and Teresa, looked right over the top of you, and their staff. I think it's safe to say you don't get to see too many organizations that has been able to couple excellence one after another. It leads up to what I said in my welcoming comments this morning. The future is obviously in front of us, but the future lies with you all and the role that you play. I can't stress enough how important it is for you as members of the organization committee to be absolute strong ambassadors. You have to talk about this organization to your colleagues at your institutions. You have to get to the decision makers and make them understand what we have seen presented all day long. I don't know that that's the case currently. For the Utah version and for our host group for Mountain West, the ULAC group, I think only has a partial idea of the brilliance that is represented here. And there needs to be a real continuing effort to hammer down on that group to make sure they understand what is going on. That said, I think there are a number of challenges facing this group, those of us that are part of it, into the future. And I'm just going to kind of click off some topic areas. You know, I think most of you know quite well what I'm talking about. Membership. We can't have sustainability without membership. Membership needs to continually grow and be robust and to be players, 100% players. It's very important. That's why I've brought it up several times. It's the key to sustainability. The subject of sustainability itself is an important issue. There are some people across the state in our greater group that are not certain about the sustainability of the Mountain West Digital Library. Had they been here today and listened to what we have seen, heard, viewed, I'm not sure they would have the same concern. And it is, again, it comes back to communication, but also the ability of the oversight team and for the members to continue to push out what you have to work with and what you have in front of you as the total product of the Mountain West Digital Library. Lost my place. I think two of the major components of future development are, one, the continuing expansion and drilling down of the instruction capability of the organization to you, the members, and your colleagues. Having that ability to have a resource to turn to that can answer questions and difficult questions is another crucial component. And that needs to be continued to be fed, watered, and developed. One of the major issues I hear about and see, and when you're listening to me, you realize I'm somebody looking from 5,000 feet down. I don't play in the weeds like many of you do. That isn't, I don't have that luxury, quite frankly. But I do get to look down and say, all right, what's going on and where does this go and how does it go? There needs to be a continued stress on how to find solutions to critical issues facing the Mountain West Digital Harvesting crew and how to ingest information, data, and make it work. What's happened, in my view, over the last 18 years has been this movement of the member groups expanding the type of platform and software that they are using. The challenge to this group is how does that continually be ingested and how does it in return be presented to the public at large in a usable format. I hear comments about this quite often, and I think it's one of the major components of challenge going forward. Money, of course, is always a challenge, and linked to membership is the fee structure. And I think it's imperative that leadership and membership are constantly looking at how to create a more effective, efficient organization and still produce at an increasing rate. So you'll say, that's an impossible task, Thompson. No, I don't think it is. But it is not easy. And there are administrators and the authority folk, the controllers of the Treasury, who are looking and saying, so what am I spending my money for? All of you know that in the area of acquisitions, there is a crisis going on. And that crisis is sucking up resources at an extraordinary rate. And you are now seeing some libraries across this country go into bankruptcy. What is happening underneath that is that in order for the libraries to try to afford their acquisition bill, they are scooping up all exterior and external money they can. We have it going on here, and I think it's across the state. We've done a little better than most because we've had a little stronger legislation support, our parent organization, UALC, has been very progressive over the last few years in trying to help. The larger institutions in this state have been an integral part of stepping forward. You can't count on that forever, and so you have to have a plan A, plan B type of scenario for what happens when the economy in this state falls off the big bubble that it's on right now and money tightens. You've got to be sure there is resources present and capable to keep the organization moving forward in its plan. Finally, I would suggest that a very solid effort be made in absolutely designing a vision and a future plan for the next 3 to 5 years. A good vision, a great plan, sells itself to future members, and it really sells for those people that are making the decisions in our institutions, as well as the legislators in our states. So I know it sounds kind of heavy. I don't mean to be that way. I just want this organization to have another robust 18 years of development. I've been privileged to watch it from the beginning and experience today a marvelous tutorial on what's going on in the contemporary world of Mountain West Digital Library. You should be enormously proud of what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. I wanted to say a few things, which I should have thought about before, about Greg Thompson. So one of the reasons that I asked Greg to speak today and give us his closing remarks is because he's been involved in the MWDL project from the very beginning, and he was one of the founders of MWDL, and he was in those conversations. And also, his commitment to history is unparalleled. And apparently, he's also the adjunct assistant professor of history, and he really loved going to school because he received a BS from a Bachelor's of Science from Colorado State University, a BA from Fort Lewis College, an MS and doctoral degrees from the University of Utah, and he's published several monographs, and I can list them out in the program proceedings later on. And he also has received the Lifetime Achievement Award from SEMA for his service. So, and he's been busy, much more than that. He's been doing a lot of things. I feel like there was another award given with your name attached, Greg. What was that? The Western. I can't say that, but so you've had a couple of awards. But thank you so much. He's always. No. But he's always been a great champion for digital library projects and for Mountain West Digital Library specifically. And I'm so glad that he was able to attend and watch a part of the presentations today and be here at the conference, and also was able to provide the closing remarks today. Thank you so much, Greg. Appreciate that.